In India, if you're a man and you're stuck up in a bad marriage, then it's a recipe for disaster for you. So if you want to get out of it, then there's a plethora of there is a legal system, there is a societal mindset, and there are different various laws that basically hinder you and stop you from doing it. People think that uh, in a marriage they have not done anything, they have not taken any dowry, so they won't be slapped with it. This is the biggest myth. We say that filing a 490 days is easier than ordering a pizza. Go to the police station. The police has to register this. There is one additional case every time you have to attend the court dates. You have to go for the bails. Your entire family members are roped into that. There is a harassment. Harassment part is there, but they have added domestic violence act to it. That is being misused. There is a maintenance law that is being misused. The conviction rate in this 498 cases is 15%. Same judiciary, same system is working in 498, same is working in other, excuse me, other as well. And you see the stark difference, 15% and 65%. In murder case, the conviction rate is 45%, 42%. But all gender-based laws, they have a pathetic conviction rate. Dowry death, it has a conviction rate of 30%. Rape cases, it has a conviction rate of 27%. Similarly, Boxo, it is around 15 to 20%. All gender-based laws, because they are filed with ulterior motive of extorting money. Nobody wants to pursue it till the end. Yeah. So when it comes to 490 I said earlier that certain things you don't deny. Don't deny gravity. These women organizations that they are beyond anything. They will deny everything. So being cautious is because the cases that compromise, the woman who has filed the case, she has no interest in pursuing the case till the end. What she is looking for a settlement in between. She gets the money that she wants and gets caught.
Before we start, I have a favor to ask. If you find these conversations worth your time, please subscribe to Perth Dialogues and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next episode. It is free and it is the single biggest help you can give the show. Now let's get into it. Hello, Wasif. Welcome to Perth Dialogues, and a big thank you for giving the time.
Thank you, Nirmal. It's my pleasure to be part of your show.
I was reading about something about dowry laws in Australia, and I stumbled upon an inquiry a few years ago in Australia on possibly introducing dowry laws in Australia. And then I realized that one of the submission is from your organization sitting in Delhi. And I was thinking, why is an organization sitting in Delhi is concerned about a Senate hearing in Australia? And that's when I started reading about your organization and what you do and your work. And then I realized, because there is such a growing population of Indians in Australia because of migration, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about your work and how that is moving to Australia, where there's a need for that conversation in Australia as well. So a big thank you again for giving your time.
So, Nirmal, that's very interesting that uh, related to something what is happening in Australia, we got involved in that, and that triggered something in you to basically study this issue. It is very important because there is a lot of nuances and different layers behind it. That would really a common man, a normal man who is not involved in this, would hardly get to know that what is exactly happening behind all this gender bias and Tory laws.
So before we get into your work and the your submissions to Australian Senate hearing, let's talk about you. You are an engineer. I'm an engineer. We are both into get this thing done, move on. How did you get into this? Because this is not engineering, this is advocacy. What's your story?
Yeah, true, very true. So, Nirmal, what happened was that uh, I joined this movement some 20 years back. I was recently married at that point of time, and unfortunately, my marriage didn't work. So I was stuck up in a bad marriage. As you can say, typically a victim of very severe domestic violence. So I had an abusive wife who was always picking up fights with me. No respect for marriage, no respect for me. Would find time and again ways to humiliate, insult, and verbally abuse. So this happened immediately after my marriage. So it was a disaster. So when I started pondering about it, that what is happening, what is my way out, I found that it's not going to work out. But then I found that there was another angle to it. Because in India, if you're a man and you're stuck up in a bad marriage, then it's a recipe for disaster for you. So if you want to get out of it, then there's a plethora of there is a legal system, there is a societal mindset, and there are different various laws that basically hinder you and stop you from doing it. Typically, what happens is that when I connected to the lawyer, he simply told me, if you think of getting out of the marriage, the first thing will happen is that anti-dowry law, which is typically called as 490 in India, will be slapped on you. And you will be charged with that you were beating her, you were having her for dowry, even if you have not done anything. There's a typical modus operandi here. So this opened my eyes that what the hell is this happening? I am a victim of something and I have to go and defend that I have not done anything. So I started searching uh, for support groups for help. Not exactly support groups, but trying to understand what it is. Then I came across this organization called Save Indian Family Movement. It was just starting at that point of time. It was just started. I'm talking of this in 2005. It was just starting at that point of time. I got connected with some like-minded people and joined them. And I saw they had similar story as mine. So it gave me a lot of comfort. Let's see, I'm not alone in this world who's facing this. There are people who are exactly going through the same situation, and they're not judging me also because they understand what I'm doing. So I immediately joined this movement, and from then on, it has been an inner desire inside me and like-minded people that see in society there is no support group for men. Is what we found. There's no laws for men. Okay. Today, suppose the woman is caught in a bad marriage, she has got thousands of uh, voluntary organizations will come and help her. There are numerous laws that will help her. And this group, they were trying to build up that support group for men. And someone who has gone through this bad phases, I was immediately motivated to join it uh, and work for men. So that was the starting step of Yatniki. And as you say that first step is the biggest step that you take and it keep on going and within 20 years now. And I can proudly say that we have been able to help uh, grow such organizations in India, in Delhi, all across India. There are more than 40 organizations connected with civilian family. Apart from civilian family, there's another 40, 50 organizations. After 20 years, I can very proudly say that in India, no, there is a good ecosystem and support system for men who are caught in such situations and come and seek help.
So when the first man came and asked for your help, what was that case, and how did you feel when you helped him?
See, the feeling is immense because if you guide it. See, when people come to us, they're in total distraught situation. They're totally depressed. They feel that there's no help for them anywhere, and they're doomed. This is a typical mindset. And at that time, 20 years back, because of this law, people had this fear in their mind. They will get arrested at any cost. This was what the fear that was being circulated, and it used to happen also in UP, in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Delhi, then south of the country, Andhra Pradesh, Bangalore. It was rampant that once you're caught in bad marriage, false cases will be filed on you and you will get arrested. But that fear was there. So, but when people used to come in, so we used to tell them first of all never used to judge them. So that was a big relief for them because if someone is caught here and a man has to explain a lot of things to people to convince, and people don't get convinced also. Somewhere in their mind, they feel that yeah, he must have done something. The first thing is that when they come here, they see like-minded people. They are not being judged. They understand their story. Because see, if someone comes in and tells me two sentences about his life, I can immediately tell him the next 100 sentences in going. And that gives him a big relief that these people understand. Then we tell him the tricks of the trade, tell him what the exact situation is, how things work. We try to alleviate the fear out of him about arrest and everything. Yeah. So, see, exact what was the first case, I don't remember. That was 20 years back. But the cases typically were like this. People were victim of domestic violence. So they had a fear of either fear of getting slapped with anti-dowry laws, or they were already slapped with anti-dowry laws. So they come in, they join in, we counsel them, and when they go back, they feel a lot of relief. They tell us on our face. It's a when you're very scared, but after talking to you, now I'm quite.
So, so Men Welfare Trust is based in Delhi. Say someone is listening this from Australia. What should they know about, or how can you explain to him what is that Men Welfare Trust does?
Okay. So 20 years back, when we started, we were doing the work in the name of Save Indian Family. And in Delhi, we had an organization called Safe Family Foundation, which is still there. Yeah. See, at that time, what happened that when we used to talk about uh, issues with men, the acceptability in society and media were not so promising. But when you talk about saving the family, save Indian family, then they felt, yeah, these people are doing a good job. Let's hear them. So gradually we were working on it. But in 2016, finally, society thought that yes, the issues with men is a serious issue and they need some attention. Then we set up this Men Welfare Trust. That was 10 years back. So in December, we'll complete 10 years, exactly 10 years of. So we work on two things. One is we counsel men who are suffering from false cases. False cases not only about dowry. People when people are stuck with bad marriages, there are plethora of laws. There is Domestic Violence Act. He slapped with false domestic violence. He is suffering from domestic violence and just to go and say that he has not done domestic violence. Then there is a new trend of filing false rape cases on members of the husband. There is a very typical trend of now filing sexual harassment and molestation cases on father-in-law, brother-in-law. So this is one part of we counsel men about this. They come and we guide them. Number two, we do a lot of advocacy for men to the policy makers. We have made several representations. There were parliamentary committees in the past. We have gone and made representations there. So there were 2 to 3 parliamentary committees. One was on this misuse of 498A. Then another, when the new bill on sexual harassment bill was coming in, they had set up this parliamentary committee. We have gone there and given our deposition. So people heard us, and in that bill, they incorporated the misuse clause for sexual harassment and workplace. Only thing is that misuse clause is not so effective because it's not mandatory to trigger that misuse if the case is found to be false. They've given that liberty to the employer that if case is false, they can file. So people generally don't file misuse clause. But the positive thing is that when we made our representation, there are file notice in the ministry that misuse of this law is causing a great concern among certain sections of people. They need to be taken care of. Because 498A misuse was quite common. It's so grossly misused that today if someone denies it, it's like denying gravity. Okay. Simply you cannot deny it. Like you talk to anyone, now they will say. You see in the articles in news channels, women always are denying misuse of 498A. That's stupidity because it's like denying gravity, denying that Earth is round. They are flat earthers. People say. So everybody knew that. So that's why they introduced this clause of misuse. Unfortunately, it's not so effective. Similarly, for the misuse of 498, we made our representation. The parliamentary committee report was very categorical on this. They acknowledged that there was a misuse. They took opinions from various authorities, bodies, from judiciary, from bureaucrats, and 60 to 70% said that changes need to be done. It needs to be made available. But for the existing laws, making changes is not easy. So they made a recommendation then, acknowledging that there is a problem. If nothing happens in this, then some actions should be taken. That was the final recommendation. So we do a lot of advocacy for to the policymakers. We do judicial activism. Currently, this women organization, they wanted some marital rape law to be uh, enacted in India. So we made an intervention there, and we are fighting that case in Supreme Court right now. We won in High Court, but the case is in Supreme Court. The simple thing is that the current rape law, it is applicable for against men, but it gives an exception to husband. Says that the law will not be applicable to husband. This was formulated in 1840, 1870, 1860, 1860 under British rule. At that point of time, they gave this exception because they knew that when you're formulating a rape law, this rape law is not designed for a marital relationship. That has to be dealt separately. So it is covered in Domestic Violence Act. It is covered in other sections, but they had very rightly done. They have removed it from this. Now women organizations are sniffing blood here. I think if they can get this exception removed and get the husband covered under this law, then the extortion racket that that got subdued because of this 498 being uh, uh, its effectiveness being reduced over a period of time. So they wanted something that should put husbands in the pressure. And marital rape law is that rape law removing exception is the best tool for that. So they thought that they will get it done. But we saw this, we found this opportunity, we intervened. So far it's not there, but the court is stuck in the Supreme Court. So let's see what happens.
So the people who come to you, like, what's their demography? Are they coming from a certain section, or are they from every class and every strata, and everyone is being affected by this 498A?
Everyone, it is coming from all across the. See, we launched our helpline number 10 years back, a national one number helpline number. Okay. And the moment we launched it, it has a huge acceptability. Within 1 week, we got 10,000 calls. And
Wow.
the calls came from where? From Madhya Pradesh, from the interiors of Madhya Pradesh. A postman was calling us. A daily wages worker were calling us. So see, this cuts across all the sections of the society. It is a myth that in the urban sections where people are more educated, they were misusing it, or in the lower sections, the people are more, as they say that in rural areas, women are more subjugated than men, they are more having. But we don't believe that because we get calls from all across. If our numbers get published in one newspaper, one Hindi newspaper, which has a reach in the interiors of the country, we get flooded with calls. I mean, recently in Dehradun, one newspaper published our number, and we start getting calls. In 1 month, we got 12,000 calls. And they're coming from interiors of the country. So that is totally a myth that people believe that in the interior of the country this is not happening. It's happening everywhere. In fact, in the interior of the country, people are less equipped to handle it. Men are less equipped to handle it.
You also said that it was earlier 498, then the Indian government modernized the laws and brought it into a new version, Bharat Nyaya Sanhita, BNS. Has it changed how the law is actually made applicable to the people, or it's the situation at the ground level is still the same?
It seems that they've done a law reform, but no reform has been done. They've simply changed the name of the section. I've done some small changes in overall structure of this. For example, when it comes to gender, in this 490 no changes have been done. It's just the section has been renamed as 85 and 86, and exactly the same 492. In rape law, what they've done is that in Indian rape law, there is a clause of misconception of fact that if a man has sex with a woman, misleading her with some misconception of fact, that will amount to rape. Supreme Court in one of the judgments said that using this clause, that uh, any man who falsely promises that he will marry that woman and have sex, then that will be a rape. So what this government has done, then is made separate sections called BNS 69, in which if someone makes a false promises of job, marriage, or anything else, so that will be punishable by 10 years of imprisonment. And they said that it won't be called rape, but it becomes a punishable offense. This is one change that has done which is one against. Otherwise, there was section 377, that is unnatural sex, that was being left, right, and center against women. Because when they're making complaints, they're adding one or two sentences about unnatural sex as well. That triggers your 377, IPC 377. But IPC 377 is also about same-sex uh, sexual acts among same-sex couples. So there is a huge movement about that as well among LGBT community, that this law is harmful for them. The government has removed that section at PC 377. So that is not being used by men right now because of a different kind of agitation that was.
So I've heard that the situation went so bad that even the Supreme Court had to say that 498A use has almost resulted in legal terrorism. Is this correct? And what has changed after Supreme Court made that remark?
Okay, so this remark was made in 2005. And see, why does the group like us exist? Because of this gross misuse of 498. So we are there, we existed. And who is the first person to know that this is being misused? Is the judiciary. Cases come to them, and they know that the thing is gross misuse. They start making comments on it. When they see that things have gone overboard, something needs to be done. The Supreme Court first said in 2005 that this is like unleashing legal terrorism. That is the word legal terrorism came in for. And after that, time and again, Supreme Court, some other benches have come and have blasted this law. That something needs to be done. They've come with guidelines. Finally, in 2014, Arnesh Kumar judgment came in to curtail the arrest. That judgment has been landmark judgment for us. After that, the arrests have reduced drastically. Just because of that judgment, the arrests have reduced by 40%. So yes, Supreme Court does that, and when it sees that the laws are being grossly misused, they time and again they come in and make their own remarks. Sometimes they issue some guidelines. So there's a um, it's a two-edged sword basically for them. It's a mixed thing because it is a judiciary itself that is aiding the misuse as well. If you are stuck up with 498, you go to the court, you ask for a bail, and if Supreme Court is not granting you the bill, then they become a party to it in the. If you grant the bill, the laws will not get misused at all. But they are granting the bill, they are not granting the bill, and they're using this mechanism to extort money for women. So they're also, so it cuts both ways. Sometimes some vigilant judge will come in and they will blast it, but overall there's not such a positive role from the judicial level.
So you mentioned about the Arnesh Kumar, the judgment. So what was this? What was the situation before it, and what changes that judgment brought into the legal system in India?
See, we did some study on that. Okay, for 10 years period before the judgment and 10 years period after the judgment. So we found two things that between 2005 to 14, the number of cases that was being registered in 498A from 40 to 50,000, it shot up to 1,40,000, 140,000 per year. And arrests were around 2.5 persons per cases, something. But after that judgment, what that judgment did was that there was an amendment called CRPC 41A, which clearly said that for any offences with punishment less than 7 years, police cannot go and directly arrest anyone. They have to issue a notice, give a warrant, ask them to come and join the investigation. But that was not being strictly implemented. Arnesh Kumar judgment did that. They set up a guideline to strictly implement that amendment of CRPC 41, and it has a direct effect on these cases. So your number of arrests only because of this judgment reduced by 40%, and number of cases is stable at 1,20,000, 30,000 per annum, which we saw increasing from 50,000 to 1,40,000. Not from 2014 to till today. It has not increased. It is stable at 1,20,000.
So you mentioned the number of cases that there are there, and the arrests have come down there's a lot of cases being quashed, and which is an indication that the laws are being misused. The representatives of women in India have said that just because the case is quashed, it doesn't mean the laws are being misused. Case can be quashed for a variety of reasons. What do you have to say on that?
Yeah. So when it comes to 490 I said earlier that certain things you don't deny. Don't deny gravity. But these women organizations that they're beyond anything. They will deny everything. So being caused is because the cases that compromise, the woman who has filed the case, she has no interest in pursuing the case till the end. What she is looking for a settlement in between, she gets the money that she wants, she gets caught. If you compare these cases, this 490 cases versus other cases, the conviction rate in this 490 cases is 15%. And they come with their argument that just because someone is acquitted doesn't mean that is not guilty. He gets benefit of doubt. But see, there are other IPC sections as well. You know what is the conviction rate there? 65%. So you can't be selective in this. Same judiciary, same system is working in 498, same is working in other, excuse me, other as well. And you see the stark difference, 15% and 65%. In murder case, the conviction rate is 45%, 42%. But all gender-biased laws, they have a pathetic conviction rate. Dowry death, it has a conviction rate of 30%. Rape cases, it has a conviction rate of 27%. Similarly, POXO, I don't remember the exact but it is around 15 to 20%. All gender-biased laws, because they are filed with ulterior motive of extorting money. Nobody wants to pursue it till the end. See, if you are a victim, go and pursue it till the end. Get the person convicted so that it acts as a lesson for other people as well. But no, it's all bogus claims that being caused doesn't mean because your data doesn't say that. And there are so many Supreme Court rulings that calls about that, that highlights this. They've started talking about rape laws as well. It's highly misused law. Domestic Violence Act is highly misused law. Markandeya Kajju, the famous that outspoken law judge, ex Chief Justice, he has tweeted that 498 and Domestic Violence Act are the most grossly misused act.
So you had a situation with 498A or the dowry laws in India. There's the Supreme Court comments. Then there is Arnesh Kumar judgment. So things have gotten better. What
No, it's
more
not. It's
changes?
not. It's not getting better. Okay.
Okay.
Only in terms of 498A, it has gone better. But it has led to other sections getting misused.
Okay. So what more changes or more updation is there that you want in the laws, especially around dowry laws?
See, I'm not so concerned about dowry laws because there's entire system here. Because today, molestation cases are slapped on father-in-law and brother-in-law. Rape cases are being slapped on the family members of the husband. Even POXOs are filed by the mother, by the daughter on the instigation of mother against the father. See, overall, what we want is that the law should be gender neutral, and there should be a strict punishment for those who are misusing it. As far as the law is concerned, this is not about 498. 498, unless my judgment has come in, that has given some relief to people. It is not sufficient because cases are being filed because there is one additional case every time you have to attend the court dates, you have to go for the bails. Your entire family members are roped into that. There is a harassment part is there, but they have added domestic violence act to it that is being misused. There is a maintenance law that is being misused. So what we want is that wherever the woman is lying, now come in and give a strict punishment for them. It's our job to prove it. We will prove it. We know we can prove it. It's very easy to prove because if you're on the right, people have done the mistake, we can prove it. People, we teach people to collect evidences. They've got plethora of evidences. They have ways of using evidences to prove it. But we need that avenue for it. And law should be gender neutral. Men don't have any law. Domestic violence act. We believe that men, if not more victim of violence, at least are equally victim of violence. But this law doesn't allow them to file any complaint.
So you have been doing all that work over the last 10, 20 years in dowry and managing, helping men against these laws. Your hands are full. So why are you concerned about some Senate inquiry happening almost half the way across in Australia? What was
Very,
your
very
submission?
okay. I will tell you the psychology of a men's right activist. Okay. A men's right activist, what he thinks is that what has happened with him has happened with them. But his entire goal is no man in this world should suffer. And that man is only not limited to India. It is limited to any corner of this world. And when we saw this in Australia, that they were proposing to being having large Indian diaspora, they're preparing to, they're planning to bring the anti-dowry law. We immediately got into action. And we sent our recommendations there. And thankfully, that Senate did not pass that bill. But I'm hearing that still there are some lobbies that are working on it. That there's a family violence law is there, and they want to bring an economic dowry in the economic abuse section. So, but at that time, we thought no man should suffer because of it. See, it pains us even if someone in the deep corner of the world is suffering because of this gender issue. We feel for them, and anything we feel that we can do it, then we'll do it.
What were your submissions to this inquiry, like in detail, that this is what you are recommending?
No, we shared our Indian experience with them. That this is a section already here in India, and this is the state of affairs in this section. This is so grossly misused. We get so many calls, so many people, and this is how everything works. So if we implement this law, it will get grossly misused and grossly abused. That was the sum and substance of our.
Right. My understanding is the Senate committee in their recommendations said that we know this is going on. We won't propose the 498 type of law, but we'll put it in somewhere in some other laws. So the people who were fighting for these laws have got it in a way. What do you say of that?
So is this dowry law being incorporated in some other law or not?
It has become included in economic coercion. So if you are asking for more money, it's economic coercion.
See, there's a big Indian diaspora, I understand, in Australia, because our NRI issue is a separate issue that we deal with. That women go there. It's not only about Australia; it's about USA, UK, and other countries. That when women go there, they come back and they slap all these cases on their even if they are there, they do that. So they want this law because of this, and see, the only purpose of this law is that uh, it will be used to extort already suffering men there. It will get misused left, right, and center.
But let's see it from the other way. When the Australian Senate had this whole hearing and they recommended that we don't need these kind of laws, our other laws are sufficient. Is that an indication to the Indian authorities that we don't need these laws? We can manage these things in other laws.
See, from the Indian context, you definitely don't need these laws. Having a separate gender-based laws doesn't set up a system where issues get handled. That specific issue, it's only that data gets categorized into the things. For example, this 498 is not there. Already there are existing IPC that covers such kind of crimes. There's hurt, severe hurt, extortion. If somebody is asking money, he's extorting, blackmailing. So these laws don't help you handle any specific issue in the society. These laws only meant to be misused. All gender-based laws, they are only meant to be misused because any section of the of these laws can cover all the crimes that are being committed. You don't need specific section to just handle. Only the data gets segregated separately. That's all. And you in the name of handling women issues, women crime against women, you start making that specific law very stringent. And stringent law doesn't elevate any crime; it only elevates justice.
So suppose there is a woman, any Australian woman, or especially an Indian woman who's migrated from India, and she is hearing this conversation and says, I've been asked for dowry so many times, I've been coerced, I've have all these issues, but the only time an Australian government was going to listen to me was if these laws come out, and you have jeopardized it. Where do I go?
See, what I know about Australian law. There's a family violence law, and then called economic abuse part is there, and she can go and uh, submit her grievances under that economic abuse. It will be very well covered. If she's saying that because of this law she's not being heard, then she's misrepresenting things. She's not being truthful, totally truthful, or she has no intention of basically pursuing the case.
Another issue is of the Indian men or who migrate from India to Australia or anywhere in the world. I've heard that all the NRIs or non-residential Indians under these laws are put into problem where their passport is taken there. They have to go back to India to fight these laws. How does it these laws affect those people? Because now you're stuck between two countries. It's not just within India to move. There's jobs, there's economic opportunity, there's family issues come in.
Yeah, this is the major issue with NRI cases. These are additional issues that they face, and this is a very big issue because typically in these cases, what courts do is they impound the passport, they ask them to submit their passport there, okay. And once it is submitted, then he's stuck. He cannot move. He cannot go back and continue in employment. But there are ways of doing it. They generally take collaterals, lot of collaterals from the husband that you submit your property details, everything to ensure us that uh, um, you will abide by the conditions. Because when they get the bill, there's a lot of conditions attached to it. That they will come to the courts, they will not leave, uh, they will attend every court hearing. Or if not to be heard, then they will inform. So there is a lot of conditions. Then only that passport is being issued to them. But we see that a lot of passports get impounded and they are submitted in the courts. And they generally, I see they contact the embassy and they try to seek redressal. But our advice to them is generally, if you are stuck up in a different country, it won't be easy to fight the cases from remote people. You come back, fight the case, get it over with it, then find a way to
Another thing is that this dowry laws in 498A started from India. It's an Indian law. But as Indian diaspora is going to all these various countries, the call for similar laws is also going there. Is it making the dowry laws an international issue now? That wherever you go, there's a call for dowry law.
Uh, I don't think there's a call for dowry law. Australia is the case, but on the contrary, this misuse of this law, the embassies are aware of this misuse. So, the time and again they issue advisories that travel advisories. There was there in USA when last time we know. Okay, if they removed, I don't know, but that this law is watching, which is the beware of it. These are the travel advisories we use by various entities. So people are aware. See, we have also helped with this in raising the awareness about this law. So, see, normally what different countries are looking at is that they are not aware that this law is being misused. That they don't want their people, their employees to be unnecessarily get harassed about it, and they want them to handle it accordingly. So embassies sometimes give you favorable guidelines, favorable support system to the Indian citizens living abroad. So the various travel advisories will say cautioning about it. But it's only Australia that people are working on dowry laws. I don't think there's any other country. There's a huge Indian diaspora there. They've become a lobby. That's why it's happening. There's no other. Australia doesn't need this law.
Okay. We discussed a lot of things about this dowry law. What is one thing that people get wrong about this dowry law? Across everything.
People think that in a marriage they have not done anything. They have not taken any dowry, so they won't be slapped with a dowry law. This is the biggest myth that happens. It has nothing to do with whether you have taken dowry or you have not taken dowry. We say that filing a 490 is like it's easier than ordering a pizza. Go to the police station, all it's a cognizable offense. The police has to register this. Typically, the modus operandi is that when a complaint is filed, uh, police will try to get the couple together, do a mediation. If it doesn't happen, it's mandatory to register this FIR. So people believe that they have not taken anything, and then it's a matter of trial. They have to go into the trial and then prove and that's the account. And number two, people think that within 7 years of marriage, this law won't be slapped. It's not true. It's for dowry death, and within 7 years of marriage, any unnatural death becomes a dowry death. But for 498A, beyond, it can happen anytime.
Right. So you're never free of this fear of this law.
Never, never. If you escape it, then you have got your own children, grandchildren. So don't think that we feel that. Sorry, this gender bias law is not only 498 domestic violence everything is going to affect each and every person finally in India, or at least every other person. If you escape it, you have got your children. If your children escape it, you've got your grandchildren.
Right. Another thing which you were involved in, on you and Men Welfare Trust was involved in, was a marital rape case that you joined or went to the Delhi High Court. What was that case about?
Okay, so see this covers under the rape law of IPC 375. And, I mentioned you earlier that in that law there's an exception that husband won't be covered under this law, and this was done in 1860 when the law came into being. So when this women organizations, when they saw that uh, all other laws like 498A and it is losing its venom extort money or put husband in a defensive position. They saw this opportunity that see this is one exception. If you can get it removed, then let's say rape law is a very draconian law. In a typical rape cases, when rape case is filed, it has to be registered, and husband is sorry not to me. The man is arrested, and he doesn't get any relief until the charge sheet is filed. He is in the jail for 8 to 9 months. So this will be more draconian than 498. So they filed a case in High Court on a constitutional ground that this exception should not be there. The exception should be removed. When we saw this, we saw that women are looking at this opportunity to again bring in draconian laws against men and file an intervention in this case from the men's side. So there were two petitions, one from Safe Family Foundation, and one from Hriday. Hriday is our Calcutta-based organization, and another from Men Welfare Trust. And we made our arguments. We did our, in High Court. We got a split verdict. There were two judge bench. One judge said that it should be removed and husband should be covered under this law, and the other judge said that no, it should not be. It should not be removed. It was a split verdict. So, law stayed as it was, and it is gone for appeal now. And the case is subject in Supreme Court. So we are a party there. We have filed an appeal. Opposite party has also filed an appeal. The case being sub judice, so I cannot get too detailed in this matter, but this is probably what it is.
So recently, I think a few years ago, there was another case in which there was a split judgment. One judge said it should be struck down. One judge said, no, it should be upheld. So if the judiciary is in two minds, how do the society takes, where are we going?
I think society. See, these are generally about laws. What judiciary is doing. Society is not so much concerned about it. Society will behave accordingly what is being presented to them. It is the vested organizations that bothers them. Marital rape, see, when marital split verdict came in, see, there was a huge outcry in social media. So all the young women today, young girls today, they feel that marital rape is such a big issue. Yeah. But it's not because what people don't know is that based on National Family Health Survey data, this is the mother of all surveys in India. 95% of women have never faced sexual violence against some of them, and 99% of women don't face repeated form of sexual violence. So this is also one myth being created, being propagated by all the people that marital rape is such a big thing. Every woman goes through it, but the data doesn't show it. The research data doesn't show it. Research data shows that Indian husbands are one of the best husbands in this world. 95%. Our women have never faced it. This is a big, huge number. 99% don't face it repeatedly. So society per se is what is being fed to them is more important. If you feed them lies, see, they're not going to do a research on it. So they will believe those lies. If you don't feed on the lies, feed the truth, they will get affected by that. It's based on how you are uh, propagating that particular issue. This is what women organizations have done. They fed lies all along to this. So that is more important. The split verdicts and everything, society doesn't care.
So even the union government in I think 2 years ago it said that the once the marriage happens, it doesn't gives lifelong consent. But and if a man does something, he has to be punished. But there's no way we can punish it because there's no one, there's no witness. How do we take the case to its finality? Is there a way we can resolve this, or it has always? Do you always need that exception in the rape laws?
See, first of all, about removing this exception in the rape law. See, this rape law was not designed for marital relations. We want to cover this in the marital relationship. It cannot happen through this rape law. Your definition of consent, there's a whole list of definition of consent and rape law. If she's not willing, if she's not uh, uh, will and consent is there because in a marital relationship, if husband and a wife go in a conjugal relationship, suppose husband was suppose husband was not willing to do it, but for the sake of the relationship he does it, doesn't mean he was rape. So the entire definition of consent is so flimsy in rape law, it cannot be covered there. Domestic violence covers sexual offenses. Like, women can go there. In 498 also, it can form a form of cruelty. See, what is a marital rape? Marital rape is something that if one party doesn't want to have sex, there is a force or threat of force involved. If there is no force and threat of force, it cannot be a rape or marital rape. So these are covered in various sections. Domestic Violence Act is there, 498 is there, but this rape law is not designed for that. It cannot be. Once it is there, then the entire definition of consent is flimsy. In marriage, you cannot have that. Yes will also mean yes. Yes can also mean no. This is what the consent is in rape law. No? Yes can be yes. Yes can be no also. No will be no. No can become yes also. Today it's yes. Tomorrow it can become no. This is what the consent is basically. So it's a big nonsense going on in this rape law, and you want to cover the husband into it because of this, and that relationship is there about conjugal relationship. They have a right to have sex with each other. Consent is something left out. They have a right to have sex with each other, and you want to bring this law, which has such a flimsy definition. It cannot be there, and there are other sections I told you. Sexual offenses, Domestic Violence Act, cruelty is there in 498.
Um, in Australia, they have found a way to treat or take these cases of marital rape to the court and then to a finality through the jury. Is there any way that you can accept removing that exception?
See, you have to make laws gender neutral first. First, first make laws gender neutral, then only we can think about it. Yeah. But still, see, our stand is that it cannot be covered under this existing rape law. It has to be dealt up with separately. I think in Australia also there will be separate law covering marital relationship. See, we have studied the various laws of other countries. So it is not covered under normal rape laws. There are spousal sexual violence is a separate section. They cover it under that. It's gender neutral, and they try to have some conditions for it. There's a threat or there's a force involved, okay, or there are other things which does justice to that offense in the marital relationship. It's not a general like any other.
Okay, so you've talked about your dowry law, work on your dowry laws, work on marital rape, and you're calling for a national commission for men. How do you think that National Commission of Men can help in solving all these problems?
Okay. See, Nirmal, what we have spoken of about right now is only about laws and misuse of laws. But the issue is not only about law; it's about the situation of men in the society. See, we never spoke about suicides. Suicide is one of the major concerning area. globally. Okay. See, globally, the suicide rate is only 4 to 5 times men commit suicide when compared to women. And this is huge. In India, when we started this 20 years back, this ratio was 1:2, twice the men is. But now it has skyrocketed to 3 times. And if you see the phenomena, Indian National Crime Records Bureau records this data since 1965, 66. Okay. Men suicide when compared to women has been 40% higher normal. Okay. So men are generally committing more suicide than women. This was stable ratio till 1997, 98. Something happened maybe when India got globalized in 91. The entire gender dynamics changed, gender roles changed, your women organizations becoming more active and brutal. Suicide started increasing like anything. 50,000 men were committing suicide in 2005. Today it's 1,25,000. And that ratio has tripled now. We measure as male suicide index. So which was 1.2 20 years back, 30 years back, it was 1.4, today is 3. Okay. So there's a very big issue, and family reasons is one of the main reason for people committing suicide. And suicide of women has been stagnant. They stagnant at 45%. It's not that women's suicide has gone down. That's why this ratio, male suicide is constant and women's suicide has gone down. So this ratio has increased. No, women's suicide is constant and male suicide is increasing. Then there's an issue of school dropouts, homelessness, there's joblessness, mental health issues. So these laws cannot cover all those things, but we need a separate commission for men. So they can handle these issues. Then a lot of research needs to be done as well. No research is being done. In domestic violence, it is a one-sided research. That's what women are going through it. But globally, if you see, globally this research is being done and the perpetrators of violence is mostly women, 60-70%. But in India, we are made to believe that it is a woman who go through this domestic violence more often than men. But we don't believe that this to be true. But who will do that research? Because these people, they don't let the National Commission of Women or women, they don't let any research, any work happening for men. So we need a dedicated commission for that. If you want to work for environment, you've got a separate ministry for that. If you want to work for social welfare, there's a separate social welfare ministry. For finance, you've got to. So if you want to work on men, it is such a serious issue. We need a separate commission for it. Then only the issues will get addressed. Then only there will be focus. Then only something will happen.
I think this is where India and Australia are common, where there's a call for minister for men as well in Australia as well. So we are on the same page. Let's stop here. I think it's a good point to stop where we are common on at least something. And thank you for your time. Hopefully, we can talk more very soon on Minister for Men, Commission for Men, and other disparities between the life of men and women and how we can resolve it.
So it's a very big topic, and we know that some laws can get changed or some new laws can be averted, some draconian laws can be averted. But overall, what is required is that a strong ecosystem for men that has to be there, and it has to be there for a long term, for eternal, basically. So that anything that is going to happen in this gender space, these organizations need to be consulted as well. So, and it covers each and every aspect of their life. Yeah. It's their work, it's their social life, it's their public life, it's their family life. So these issues have never been getting attention. It needs to have some. It's very important that men should get now same attention that what women have been getting.
Okay, I don't want more calls to come to your helpline, but if someone wants to find more about your work, where can they find about you
Okay,
and your work?
so yeah, so our number is 888-498-498.
Okay.
8882-498-498.
All right. On that note, thank you, Wasif. It's a pleasure talking to you and knowing so much about India and how the laws work there.
Thank you, Nirmal. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. Can you please subscribe to the channel if you have not done yet? Also, tell me in the comments what you liked in the episode. And 3, please share this episode with someone who you think will benefit from the conversation. And I'll see you the next time.